Hey guys, welcome to Not So Popular Opinion. Today we got a video of a woman talking about how unfulfilled sexless marriages develop. I got a lot of thoughts on this. Let's check this out.
Want to know how unfulfilled sexless marriages happen? Well, it starts because we're fed this idea that we should only have sex when we're in the mood.
Exactly. And I'm just coming from a man's standpoint on this. If you're with somebody and you only do things when you're in the mood, most of the time you'll do absolutely nothing. Because I know a lot of guys, they come home from work, they're tired, they're exhausted. They don't even want to listen to your problems at the end of the day. They just want to come home and relax. But they still do it because they want you to be happy. They want to be there for you, and you need them to listen. A lot of dudes don't want to take out the trash. They don't feel like doing yard work. They don't even feel like helping around the house. But if they don't do those things, they know you'll be unhappy, and that'll make their lives worse in the long run. So they still muster up that energy or that strength to take care of those things that you want taken care of, regardless of the mood that they're in. Honestly, you think a man is always in the mood to take you out, to always do the things that in a relationship you expect him to continue to do when you're denying him sex? Of course he isn't. And it's weird that if a guy stops doing what you expect him to do in a relationship, you can also use that as a reason to not have sex with him. It's so weird. You're already not having sex with him. But the fact that he stopped after you stopped doing what you were doing is another reason to not have sex with him. I've heard that so many times. Well, you stopped doing this and you stopped doing that, but you had already stopped having sex. Why would I keep on beating my head against the wall, hoping for new results? Why would I keep doing every single thing to make you happy? And I'm asking for something that honestly is not that big a deal, that you should also benefit from. Like I've said before, both people get something out of it, but you don't want to do that. But I'm the bad guy for not wanting to do the things that make you happy, or to keep making you happy when you're not doing your part to make me happy. I've never understood how the guy's the bad guy in the situation. And that happens a lot. Women will cheat and say, oh, well, he wasn't paying me attention. Maybe he wasn't in the mood to pay you attention. But somehow everybody will rally around him. He should have paid you more attention. But women can go without having sex with men for months, for years. And if he cheats, he's still a bad guy. And the excuse will be, maybe he should have paid her more attention. Isn't trying to have sex with her paying her more attention? Don't make no sense. If he can go out his way to do the things that you want to keep you happy, keep you fulfilled, you can do that in return for him, without making him feel ashamed for wanting it, or make him feel like the bad guy for wanting it.
But what happens when one partner isn't in the mood? If he or she thinks this isn't a problem, yet the higher sex drive person or the higher libido person is made to feel ashamed for wanting sex. This leaves one partner feeling hounded for sex, while the other feeling pathetic for wanting it, which is not a healthy relationship.
A man's ego, and even a woman's ego, is a strong driving force behind them. And a huge way of breaking down that person and making them feel shame or bad about themselves is to deny them or make them feel stupid for asking or making a request for intimacy. Basic intimacy. Kisses, touches, sex. Continuously denial of of that request for intimacy will mentally break down a person first. It will destroy them from the inside, whether they express that to you or not. You develop shame from it. You think you're unworthy. You start to feel bad about yourself. You start to feel like, okay, what am I doing wrong that this person doesn't want to be intimate with me? What could I do to better myself to want them to be intimate with me? And that goes back to what you're saying about in the mood. If you don't do it because you're not in the mood, you can find a reason to not be in the mood for anything. So you would rather punish the person you claim to care about mentally because you're just not in the mood to make them feel better or to satisfy them. It's crazy to me.
Both partners need to be willing to show up for each other and put in some effort. Everyone in the relationship deserves to feel sexy, safe, and happy.
Just like she's saying, everyone in a relationship deserves to feel those things. Now, what'll happen is, and I've been there, so I can tell you from experience, is that the denial of intimacy will create disdain in that person's mind. That will create, basically, they will start to resent you for denying them intimacy. And not only will that hurt them, but they will start to show you that in small ways. No longer coming to you for intimacy, no longer showing you that you are sexy, no longer showing you or making you feel like you look good or you make them happy in any way. Even things that normally will make them happy besides intimacy will still make them feel slighted. They won't even appreciate those things no more, which not only make you feel bad, you'll start to withhold from them even more because you're like, okay, I'm doing this thing that used to make them happy and they don't appreciate it, so I want to have sex with them. I will have sex with them even less now, which only creates this vicious cycle of, okay, you withheld from them, so now they're withholding something from you that you feel you deserve, so you're going to withhold more from them. It only creates more problems.
So if you're married, have sex and make a commitment to keep having sex through all of life's ups and downs.
All right, let's check out some of these comments. This one says, not hard to see why affairs happen. I'm not saying you should have an affair or feel good about it. I'm not encouraging people to do it. I'm not saying I support it. I'm just saying you have to see a correlation between the lack of intimacy and an affair. Next comment says, just left this relationship. 3 months, we didn't even sleep in the bed together. Felt like a roommate. Had every excuse why she was never in the mood. I feel that one so deeply. You, in a relationship like that, you do still start to feel like a roommate. And not only that, but you're going above and beyond what you would for a roommate. Why would you do that? Why would you still be this person's roommate if you have to do these extraordinary things and get nothing in return? Especially not the things that you want out of it. It's sad, but that happens a lot in marriages and in relationships. This comment says, women need to initiate contact as well. I hate it always having to be the one to start it. It gets old. Yes, it does. Especially when you get rejected all the time. It's almost like, here we go again. I have to be the one initiated, and she's going to reject me, and I'm going to get frustrated. And then if we ever talk about it, she'll say, well, you should have initiated it. And then you go back to what I did, and you rejected me. So yeah, if women want that same thing like they claim to, especially when you have these conversations with them, they should be willing to initiate. This guy here says, I find it funny how in the beginning, if relationships a woman loves to get it on, then once they have you, they cut it off. Don't get it. Exactly what I was saying. Once you give a woman a title, it's over for them. They got you where they want you. They got exactly what they wanted out of it. Yeah, it's unpopular to say that, but it's true. I've seen it so many times. I've heard it from so many guys. I've had the same experience. Every man does. So yeah, once they have you, they cut it off. All right, we have a comment from a woman here. Both partners also need to respect the other's feelings. This type of post shames the person who isn't in the mood. Well, I think you should feel some kind of shame about what you're doing to that person. If you're withholding intimacy continuously, you can't always not be in the mood. If you are always not in the mood, which men are told all the time, then you need to go talk to someone. Or you need to set that person free and stop holding them hostage to your demands. Here we go. Person responding to it says, if they're never in the mood, they should be ashamed. Exactly what I was saying. You should be. A little shame on things that you're doing that you can control, and you're doing it in a way that seems ultra manipulative, you should be ashamed of that. Another person responds to it and says, funny how they're not in the mood after the new house, cars, trips, kids, etc., etc. It's okay. We will just keep going to work every day. That's a tortured soul right there. He's probably living that right now or just got out of it. Breaking his back. Working as hard as he can. Fulfilling every need she has. And gets nothing in return for it. At least nothing in equivalency to what he's providing her with. And like I said before, sex is equal exchange. And if a guy just wants that after everything he's given, he's not really getting much in return. Because you're also getting sex. Women always make these jokes about a minute man, a 5-minute man, whatever. So you telling me that you can't, give a man 5 minutes, but you can spend 3 hours on your phone looking at TikTok or other nonsense? I'm a strong believer in this, and I've said this for years. There's this weird thing I've noticed, and I tell a lot of guys this. Now, I'm not giving relationship advice with this. I'm just telling you what I've perceived. If you speak to a married man, and like I said, I'm only coming from a man's standpoint because I am a man. Most married men are sexually unfulfilled. Most men in relationships are sexually unfulfilled. And they will tell you that I have tried everything the books say. I've tried everything therapists say. I've tried everything I put online. I've tried talking to her. I've tried giving her the things that she said that I don't do, which I'd hope would, make her feel more inclined to want to have sex with me. Nobody should feel that they have to jump through every single hoop known to man to get sex in a relationship. That is one of the most selfish things I've ever heard of, but it happens often. And my theory is this, coming from both sides, I can tell you this, is that once you give a woman a title, the game is over for them. Metaphorically, they have reached the end boss and they're in battle right now. There's no more grinding, which is doing little things to make you happy, or you know, having sex with you often, you know, making you feel special often. They're at that end, boss. They've reached their main goal. They're about to be done with this game, and they feel like they can stop playing. They're battling with the end boss. You give them a ring, they're halfway there. The boss is getting weaker. They're starting to break the boss power down. Once you marry them, game is officially over. They put that game on the shelf. They're done with that game. They have finished it. They are done trying. That's why the majority of men sadly live in sexless marriages, because the woman has beat that game and she no longer tries. Like I said, that's just my opinion, coming from both sides. Most guys can tell you, when they were just the F buddy with a woman, they got laid a lot more. They had sex a lot more. I've been in a situation to where I was not feeling this girl really. I didn't really give her time of day, like on a personal level. So whenever I saw her, whenever I wanted it, hit her up, boom. She had no problem. She was all for it. The moment I spent any minute with her past that, and I started to decide, hey, she's pretty cool. I actually like her personality. Maybe this could be something. I gave her a title, as in girlfriend, and from there it went downhill. Which is sad and ridiculous that a woman will pretty much have sex with an F-buddy on command. Somebody she claims to not care about, but someone she loves, as in a husband or boyfriend, will treat him like trash. And mentally mess with his brain, whether she claims she knows it or not, by not having sex with him and denying him intimacy after he breaks his back to give her everything she possibly wants. And that's what mostly happens. Women like to deny it. They like to use the excuse to be tired, or I had a long day. He had a long day too. And like I said, yes, she's not just talking about women withholding sex, but I can only speak from a man's standpoint on this because I am a man. But that's usually who is being denied intimacy in these situations. And the reason women will give a buddy as much as they possibly want, whether they want to admit it or not, is because they're hoping that buddy gives them a title. So they will bend over backwards to give them whatever they want in the hopes that buddy will change their views on them. And the moment he does, it's game over for him too. And like I said, it's not relationship advice. I just think the narrative needs to change. I'm a strong believer in this, and people say I'm selfish, and I don't care. If you could give the world to me when I ask for it as a buddy, there is no excuse when you claim to love me to deny me that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, before people get bent out of shape and say, oh, he's saying that women should just be sex slaves and sex dolls. No, I'm not saying that. But why wouldn't you want that intimacy with someone you love? Why wouldn't you want to have sex with them? Why wouldn't you want to build romantically and sexually? Why wouldn't you want to build romantically and sexually? It doesn't make sense to me unless you're doing it to manipulate the situation. Unless you're doing it because you already got what you wanted and you no longer have to play the game. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you agree, cool, agree. Let's talk about this. Let's discuss this. Let's see where the stakes is. Because this gotta stop. Alright, guys. I'd love to hear from you. Can't wait to see what happens. Till the next one, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Peace.